So you've been doing have you been trying to find your voice and try to capture the excitement and the emotion for live sports during that time?
Yes, I have. So you brought up finding your voice, and that's a great point. You don't want to just mimic everyone else, right? So while I
Right.
wanted to bring that same excitement that Rob Bramley brought from Auburn Radio, I wasn't just going to say the same things he did or try to use the same voice he did. I don't want to be Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler, some of these great announcers. You want to take almost tidbits from each of these announcers and make it into your own unique style. So yeah, finding your voice is very important, and I think I've been very blessed. I'm very grateful to have the chances I've had the last couple of years.
Wow. So that's very good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Voker On Air, Voices of the Game. I am your host. Thank you so much for being here with me. This is episode 2 of the podcast, and later on today, I got a chance to interview Wesley Holmes. He is a student broadcaster at UAB. He's been doing PA announcing, he's been doing a whole lot, working on camera, and he's been doing it since he was 15. And I am so glad that he has the opportunity to chat down with him about what his experience is like and what's next. So, before we start off the podcast, make sure you subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Voker On Air, Voices of the Game, and also you can like the video and subscribe to the Voker On Air network. Hopefully, I will post some more content as well, so make sure you stay with it. So let's start off with the big one. It just came out this morning. Is that the Zone lands digital rights to LSG and yes networks, going to deal to 7 other NBA teams. And the Zone has become the exclusive digital home for the MSG and yes network starting this fall. And a breakthrough announcement that is likely the precursor to deals with 7 more NBA teams coming in the days and weeks. And while paying the Zone rights and fees and sharing revenue, the Zone will stream all non-national broadcasts for the Knicks, the Rangers, the Islanders, the Devils, and the Sabres. And with Yes Network with the Yankees and the Nets, effectively a takeover of the entire Gotham sports consumer app. This, according to the Sports Business Journal, that the Zone is close to acquiring a full exclusive local broadcast right next season for the Timberwolves, the Cavaliers, the Pacers, Spurs, and the Grizzlies, as well as direct-to-consumer only arrangements with the Orlando Magic and possibly the Beach. While the Zone will not comment specifically about the 7 pending deals, CEO Jay Dicker did tell Sports Business Journal, we are in discussion with many other teams, and I can finally see that more teams will follow in it soon. The Cavaliers, the Timberwolves, Pacers, Spurs, Grizzlies, Magic, Hornets were not available for comment Wednesday morning, with sources saying that they will likely remain silent until the deal is made. Barring any setback in negotiation and pending league approval, the Zone is set to become the digital home to 9 overall NBA franchises, the first 2 being the Knicks and the Nets, nearly a year after the London-based platform began pursuing U.S. property. Sources saying that the Zone is also likely to add a non-exclusive streaming deal with at least one more NBA team in the coming weeks, perhaps the Washington Wizards, who Segev specifically mentioned are Utah, meaning the Zone could house 1/3 of the league at the start of 2026 season. With the NBA about to launch a centralized local broadcast ahead of the following season, 2027-28 season, the agreements would seem to carry both risk and reward. Outside the Knicks and the Nets, sources told SBJ that each of the 7 other potential NBA teams are asked for either 1 year deals in anticipation of the league. For now, the zone appears to be creating its own menu, giving its sides the credibility and routine to compete with YouTube and ESPN for ESPN and local hubs for 2 seasons from now. And sources believe that the NBA expects to pay roughly $1 billion annually for the league of the platform, which could mean geo fans broadcasting anywhere between 20 and 22 the remainder of this and current users of the Gotham Support app, which launched in 2023, will continue to receive uninterrupted access to the ESPN and the G content, while the which is official Gotham Sports app rather will be yeah. And this is a really good rundown from Austin Corp because we're seeing so many like local sports taking a stretch. What does this mean? Mean that we could use the Zone app instead of the Boardwalk Gotham map. I will say that this is a massive W for those who do not have cable and want something to be affordable. And and this will lie on other NBA teams. Like, where does everything go on from there? Because regional sports network is definitely dying. All right, next up, the Amazon Video NHL deal. So Amazon Prime Video lands exclusive Wednesday night NHL in Canada under a 12-year Rogers deal. So it has been signed since yesterday, as we are recording this, and the deal will cover 26 regular season NHL games per season, broadcasting in both English and French on Prime Video in Canada, and the puck will drop on September 30th, 2026. Prime Video will also carry the first and second round playoff series under the agreement, and the financial terms were not disclosed. The deal sits atop a much larger foundation. Rogers Communications previously secured an $11 billion NHL rights package running through the 2037-38 season. Rogers operates Sportsnet, the pay TV network, which has been the central of NHL broadcasting in Canada. This new arrangement effectively extends Rogers' hockey infrastructure onto a streaming platform for more than a decade. Prime Video was not starting from scratch. The platform was already streaming NHL games and studio programming in Canada, including Prime Monday Night Hockey, a package covering national regular season Monday night games in English for the last 2 seasons. And that broadcast was led by play-by-play announcer John Forsland with analysts Jody Shelley and Thomas Hickey. The Wednesday package will add a second marquee night to Prime Video's hockey slate. The reshuffling has some casualties, by the way, with Rogers and the CBC did not renew their NHL sub-licensing deal, ending Hockey Night in Canada as a public broadcast. City TV was also by Rogers, is also opting out of the national NHL telecast entirely. For Canadian fans used to find hockey on traditional television channels, the screen is shifting. And for fans, the practical change is straightforward. From September 30th, a Wednesday night NHL game in Canada means opening Prime Video. No separate channel, no cable package for that night. A subscription to the platform is the price of entry alongside whatever Rogers is holding on to its own networks. 200 nights of hockey calendar is still live elsewhere. These 26 plus the early playoff rounds now belongs to Amazon. And the thing is that who's going to be calling Wednesday night games? We know John Forsland did Monday night games for the past 2 seasons. Hopefully he'll probably do that. But who's going to be doing Wednesday night games? That's the question that hopefully we will find that out. And with an 84 game regular season schedule now going to effect in late September, I believe that things will definitely take a change ahead of the hockey season. All right, next up, uh, along with the NFL, with the Netflix deal, is that Luke Kiley will become the lead NFL game analyst for the 2026 season. And after impressing the streamer executive during a recent tryout, according to the sources brief on the move, who were guaranteed anonymity because of the news that has not been formally announced, Country will be the first team for NBC's These Noah Eagle during the second game of the regular season, which will be on Thursday, September 10th, when the LA Rams face off the San Francisco 49ers in Australia, and NBC is producing the game for Netflix. Netflix will have 5 NFL games this season. Christmas will be a doubleheader, requiring a second broadcast team. And Country will officially be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on August the 8th in Canton, Ohio. And earlier this month, Country and Eagle met in the NBC Stanford studios for the tryout. While Country is entering a Hall of Fame, he is not an ex-quarterback. He spent 8 seasons with Carolina, and his profile was not as high as some of the candidates for these positions. And Netflix previously used J.J. Watt, Greg Olsen, Drew Brees, Nate Burleson, and Matt Ryan, but still, Country had a desire in the booth and has studied for the opportunity. He entered the audition with some experience, having been the radio analyst for the Carolina Panthers broadcast with play-by-play announcer Anish Shurkoff, and he also hosts a podcast with his longtime teammate J.J. Jansen. And last season, he did 2 Monday Night Football Playbook all tasks for ESPN2 with Don Orlovsky and Phil Yates. Now, the top crews were dominated by quarterbacks with Tom Brady on Fox, Tony Romo with CBS, and Troy Aikman also with ESPN, and Chris Collinsworth with NBC and Prime Video, and with Kirk Herbstreit. And they have ex-players who work their way up into the broadcast ladder. But, unlike the other quarterback, Kirk Herbstreit was a college quarterback. But now Netflix will definitely turn to Cusley for a new voice in the top booth. He will also remain with the Panthers radio network for the other 12, according to the team spokesperson. All right, next up, and we got a history-making moment here on Voker On Air, Voices of the Broadcast. Now, you know that I love women being part of sports broadcasting, and I know it's a male-dominated sport, but women have been taking over the rise over these last probably 2 decades. Elise Woodward has named the radio play-by-play announcer for the Washington Huskies college football team. And according to the Washington Huskies website, they have announced, along with Learfield Husky Sports Properties, the hiring of Elise Woodward as a new radio play-by-play voice for Husky football. Woodward moves up to the booth after spending 2 decades reporting on Husky football from the sidelines. And according to Director of Athletics Pat Chun, he quoted, "We are excited to name Washington alumna and former student athlete Elise Woodward as the new play-by-play voice for Husky football. Elise has built an outstanding career as a sports broadcaster for both national and local levels. She established herself as a trusted voice within the Husky community through the years covering UW football, women's basketball, and Seattle sports. She knows its university, its traditions, and the rich history of this role. We couldn't be more excited to have Elise carrying the legacy forward of being the voice of Husky football." Now, currently for Elise Woodward, she is the voice of the WNBA's Portland Fire, and she's been serving as the Huskies football sideline reporter for over 2 decades. She is a veteran broadcaster for more than 30 years of experience. And in addition to that, she has been the broadcaster for the Seattle Storm, the Seattle Supersonics, hosting the pregame, halftime, and postgame radio shows. and she has been one of the play-by-play voices of the NCAA's women's basketball team for over a decade. She also called games for Fox, the Big Ten Network, Pac-12 Network, and prior to broadcasting, she spent 4 seasons with Washington in college basketball from 93 to 97, helping the Huskies reach the NCAA tournament 3 times. And she also served her degree in communications broadcast journalism. And of course she was replaced by Tony Cascione, who is now the play-by-play radio voice for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So congratulations to Elise. I hope that things will go well for you. I remember 2021 when she filling in for Tony Cascione when he was given a second child. So congrats to Elise, congrats to Tony, and things will definitely go well ahead of the 2026 college football season. Gotta love it. Next up, Connor Onion has replaced Jason Benetti as Fox College Football's #2 play-by-play announcer. He will be teaming up with Robert Griffin III, according to The Athletic. And Benetti moved on to NBC, where he is currently the lead MLB broadcaster and expected to call college football and college basketball. Connor Onion has been calling games for both the Fox and the Big Ten Network. And Fox #1's college football team will remain with Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. But last season, Griffin joined Fox Sports as a game analyst after he was fired by ESPN. Benetti helped steered Griffin's second act in broadcasting, and after retiring from the NFL, Griffin has impressed ESPN and Fox in tryouts. He chose ESPN, but after a quick rise, he fizzled out in Bristol. And when Benetti moved to NBC became official, Griffin wrote that Benetti had earned a new role, adding that he made Griffin better, showing the sports world that a booth doesn't have to sacrifice knowledge for entertainment. And now is Onion's turn to work. And I listened to some of Connor's work so far. He's done like MLB, he's done college basketball, and that's definitely what he's really up to and hoping to rise up the ranks there. And finally, last but not least, CBS Sports has acquired an exclusive U.S. language rights to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, with every match on Paramount Plus beginning in February of 2027. All 130 of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, CONCACAF Central American Cup, and CONCACAF Caribbean Cup will be streamed live on Paramount through 2030. Now, under the new agreement, Paramount Plus will be streaming every match across all 3 men's club competitions. Paramount Plus, like I mentioned, will stream 137 matches live in each session through the 2030 competition, including all 51 CONCACAF Champion Cup matches. They will also feature 58 Central American Cup matches, 28 CONCACAF Caribbean Cup matches, and select CONCACAF Champion Cup matches will stream on CBS Sports Network and the Golazo Network. And the Golazo Network will also provide coverage across the studio performing with Morning Footy, CBS Sports Golazo Matchday, and Scoreline. And it will also provide additional coverage on CBSSports.com. And the 4 editions of the Central American Cup, the Caribbean Cup, will begin on July 28th, which happened yesterday, by the way, and August 4th, respectively, with 62nd editions of the CONCACAF Champions Cup will be played between February and June of 2027. And if you want to learn more about this, make sure you go to CONCACAF.com to talk more about all the stuff there. But this is the press release that is coming from CBS Sports, and we could not be more happier about this there. And now let's go on to my guest at this time. He is a broadcaster at UAB, and also been doing a whole lot with play-by-play announcing, doing color analyst work, being on camera. Now the PA announcing. He's been doing it since 15 years old. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to my guest at this time. Please welcome Wesley Holmes. We are back for our next interview here on the Voker On Air Voices of the Game. And we got ourselves our very first guest here on the show. He is a sports broadcaster. He is also the play-by-play and color analyst. He is the media ahead and the PA announcer for UAB baseball, softball, and Alabama high schools. And he's been doing this since he was 15 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my first guest here on the Voker On Air Voices of the Game podcast, Wesley Holmes. Wesley, great
Awesome.
to have
Thanks
you
for
here.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on. This is great.
Thank you so much here. So, I gotta say, what is your current role right now? I know you've been doing like play by play, you've been doing PA announcing, but what is the current role that you've been doing right now?
Yeah, so right now it's kind of a season of in between all my sports, mid July. There's not a ton going on right now. Just finished doing baseball for UAB this past spring, and then looking ahead to next month in August, I'll start doing play by play for some high school teams here in Alabama. But right now, just working on my own podcast, Holmes Field Advantage. I'm gonna use that as a little quick plug right there,
Good.
and just networking is the biggest thing I'm doing right now. But a little bit of a kind of a month of calm in terms of sports broadcasting.
That's very good. So you get to do like a whole lot through it there, and I gotta say, when I first looked around you, you said your career started at just 15 years old. So my first question is, where did this dream begin here for you?
Man, that's a great question. It began just from a very young age. You might be able to tell right here. I'm a big Auburn fan. Growing up, it's been around me. And think back to 2013, a miracle season for the Auburn Tigers. You had the miracle of Jordan Hare, and then the next week you come and you get the kick six. So it's one of the most famous calls of really sports history, and I'd say it's the most famous in terms of college football. So I remember just as a kid, that play meant so much to me, and the call that went along with it was so exciting. I would go to my grandparents' house, I'd grab the iPad, and I'd watch that game replay every time I went there. So I've seen it probably 200 times in my life, and I knew that I wasn't going to be a college or NFL football player. I wasn't blessed in that way, but I wanted to bring that excitement that I felt from that call, from that play, and really just I wanted to do what they were doing to make others feel the way I felt.
Oh, so that's good. So you've been doing like, have you been like, trying to like find your voice and try to like capture the excitement and the emotion for live sports during the time?
Yes, I have. So you brought up finding your voice, and that's a great point. You don't want to just mimic everyone else, right? So while I
Right.
wanted to bring that same excitement that Rob Bramley brought from Auburn radio, I wasn't just going to say the same things he did or try to use the same voice he did. I don't want to be Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler, some of these great announcers. You want to take almost tidbits from each of these announcers and make it into your own unique style. So yeah, finding your voice is very important, and I think I've been very blessed. I'm very grateful to have the chances I've had the last couple of years.
Wow. So that's very good. So not only that you've been trying to like gain like play by play, but you also did like hand on experience, including like running the camera, managing social media, doing live streams for like events there. Does this really spark the foundation for both like the communication process and of course the athletic work that really drives you to what you have today?
Yeah, it does. I mean, you have to get the technical side of everything first, and like you said, that's camera, that's running the streams, that's the social media work of it. You have to do so much and know how to do so many things before you put on the headset and get on the mic, right? There's so many things that you have to learn how to do. So yeah, you're right. It's the foundation and the base of everything you should know as a broadcaster.
Absolutely. You know, when I was trying to get into the door of sports broadcasting, and I did not only play by play, but I also did like some script writing just to see how everything goes on from there. I've been working on the cameras as well. But right now I'm doing like creative content for my own work and hopefully to like continue doing play by play. And that's the best thing about it because you love to like have an opportunity. You want to like make sure to get the opportunity that you really need in order to make sure you have success in your own right so that people can really look up to you and think about like, hey, this is a guy that definitely needs here. So that's the thing that really comes to mind there as well. So my next question is to you is that what is the biggest early challenge when you've been involved in like sports broadcasting, go behind the scenes, all that? What's the biggest early challenge?
I think it's really yourself. And I know that sounds like such a corny answer, but what I mean by that is it's really easy to get discouraged, right? I was talking with Rich Hollenberg. He's an ESPN broadcaster. And one of the things he said is you should send 100 emails out and all you need is one response, right? So you're going to get 99 no's, but you can't be discouraged by that. You have to be encouraged by the one response that you do get. I think another struggle that I found early was talking a bit too much. So another thing I talked about with Rich was in a cohort he hosted, and he kind of taught us, hey, it's not about what you say, but it's about what you don't say. You don't want to talk the entire time during the broadcast. People are going to want to tune you out. They're saying, this guy's he won't shut up, right? Like, I want to watch the game with a little bit of listening as well. So I'd say those two are probably the biggest challenges.
Yeah, when I was a part of the break in and breakthrough cohort, we also talked about that as well. It's just that always be yourself. And I think I wrote down some notes in my journal all there. But definitely that's one of the things that you really need to do is always be yourself and always, always try to be you because you never know what's gonna happen here for sure. And you know, when you're doing a whole lot of work, with the passion, the mentoring, and you really love to like make sure that all the things that really get you where you need to be as of right now. So that's a whole lot of things that could really take care like when a part of the sports broadcasting business because you never know how long are you going to be here because right now I recently just turned 30 and I've been in sports broadcasting for 5 years and the only thing about it is that it's never too late to know when the opportunity is going to come and that's the good thing about it there for sure.
100%, I agree, and you also never know when your next opportunity is going to be, and that's exciting to a degree as well.
Absolutely. So right now you are currently doing play-by-play announcing for not only football but also for basketball and also for softball. And I wanted to dive in about what's the game day preparation like, what's the research process look like, the philosophy of storytelling, working with the analysts and the producers, calling the big moments, and handling mistakes. So first thing that I want to talk about is your game day preparation. What's your preparation in game day looks like?
That's a great question. You might have noticed a little smirk on my face because I used to think 3-4 years ago, I don't need any prep. You don't need to do anything game day. You kind of look at the roster and you kind of run with it. And I found out very, very quickly that's not the case. You do have to do a lot of prep. First thing I do, there's this website called Max Preps. It's online and it hosts all of the high school rosters, all the statistics, schedules, all the information that you need. So if I'm doing play-by-play for a high school game, that's kind of my go-to source for all that information. I print out everything that I need. I memorize the rosters beforehand. And then a big thing of game day prep is, yes, you get all that information, you get all the cold stats, but try to go talk to the players and coaches if you can. Try to get maybe a personal story about them. Try to talk to the players, get, oh, that would be good to say on air. Maybe this guy, maybe his birthday today. Maybe he's playing in front of his hometown crowd. Whatever that may be, I think it's just finding too much information. That's always my goal. I don't want to try to squeak in and be like, oh, I think I have enough. I want to say, well, I have just way too much information. That's a good thing. That means I'm never going to be searching or grabbing for something that I need to say and don't have it.
And what about the research process? Are you trying to like go into like details for like every player in terms of, like preparation that you're working on before a game?
Yeah, so I think that's kind of where some of the websites come in and they give you those statistics. And one thing that we look at is not just averages, but I think a great thing to do is what have they been doing lately? So I kind of have a rule of what's the last five look like. So if you go online and you do sports betting, it's always the last five. So I kind of use that same process when it comes to player research. Is this player hot or cold coming into this game? It's especially applicable, I think, in basketball the most. I think you have to do the most research there. And I think you really want to go in depth on the small things, right? Yes, you're going to talk about the passing yards or how many baskets they've made, but try to find the small details. How many assists a game are they getting? What's their passing under pressure look like? What kind of plays have they been running lately? Did they throw 10 times last week or 40? It's just the small details, devil's in the details, and it really applies here.
That's good. When I was trying to like, do like game thing prep and trying to research the players there, I always look to like, like the school website just to look at the rosters. There's like when I call basketball, we had like, a doubleheader coming up there. So I had to like put in like as much information as possible for like the men's teams and then the women's team. And then, you got like the averages is of, like the statistics, like how many free throw percentage that they got, how many points per game that they have, block steals, all that there. And then when I was calling soccer, and I'm still doing it today, we mentioned, like the goals, assists, it's a points, like for soccer. And, that's the key thing when it comes to working on prep because you want to get like a chunk information there. And then you wanted to know what key fact that they really have, no matter if it's a game or what's they've been doing, like outside of the field and all that. And that's one of the things when in terms of game day prep and also try to work on some research there as well. I remember there's one time that, I was calling a soccer game and there was this player who, recently had like honors and doctorate honors and definitely working things out, like outside of the school. So that's one of the key things that, many sports broadcasters wanted to do is trying to make sure you have the philosophy and the process of doing your research there because, by the time we get to game day, you want to make sure that everything goes well, especially for your prep before the game, especially during the game as well, because you never know what's going to go on the field as well, because that's definitely what you needed to do in order to have a great broadcast.
Oh, I agree 100%. And talking about needing all of those things, the on-field stuff is so big as well. In terms of talking to the players and coaches, like getting that personal side. Yes, all the research, all that stuff is great. But like I said, to make a great broadcast, it needs to be personal and it needs to feel like you know who you're talking about and what you're talking about.
Yep, absolutely, for sure there. Now, I want to talk about working with, like the analysts and the producers. If there's like one particular thing that you really love about working with, like analysts or a producer, or when you're about to like, like call a broadcast for sure.
I think working with analysts and the athletic communication people is really fun because they just have such a brain for finding the weird stats. And what I mean by that is the things that I would never really immediately think to look at. it's been so and so days before or since we've done this or since we've lost or this player has done this 3 years in a row on this same week or whatever that is. So I really enjoy working with the analysts and then producers. I think any ones that I've worked with, I've always enjoyed, but I think that's one thing. Have a relationship with your producer, and that's an hour before the game starts. You just have a conversation with them. You get to know each other, get to know each other's preferences, because there's nothing worse than when a producer and a broadcaster are clashing. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was, like calling a game from college, we had like an analyst and a producer, really handle things well. And, that's the main thing behind the scenes because you wanted to make sure that you get the connection, trying to see what's going on the field there, and then when you're talking to your producer, you got to figure out, what can we talk about this? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about a player? Or can we talk about key stats and everything? And that's one of the things why you need to like have a connection with the producers there, especially with the analysts as well, because you are you're kind of like a dynamic duo when it comes to like calling a broadcast because you want to make sure that everything definitely goes well in a broadcast there for sure. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I didn't know if there was a response needed there. Thought you covered that one really well. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. That's okay. Um. So let's talk about a couple more things. First off, when you're calling a big moment, what's the best thing that you really need to do? And when you're handling mistakes, what is some of the things that you could make up to make sure that everything goes smoothly in the broadcast?
It's a great question. So, if you're talking about how to handle a big moment in a game, the way I always think of it is at what point of the season is this game? So, if it's first game of the season and it's a basketball game, we're tied 88-88 or whatever. We get a 3 to win it. Yes, I'm going to be excited, but I think something that you even would probably remember, if you give energy that early in the season, you're going to have to match it and be able to up it later in that season. So understanding that when a big game comes and a big moment happens, it's not just about getting loud or screaming. It's understanding the context of the game. Is this a rivalry game? Does this matter to get into the playoffs or to win a conference? At what point of the year is this? Are we nearing that crunch time of like, boy, this is a must-win game? Or is it week 3 versus an out-of-conference opponent that we were favored to beat by 25? Now we're in a dogfight in overtime, right? So context matters there, and how you handle yourself in those big games defines you as a broadcaster. And then you talked about mistakes on air. So they're going to happen. You're going to be talking for about 2.5 hours. You're going to make a slip up at some point. You're going to stutter. You're going to mumble at one point. And the way you recover from that is really just not thinking about it. You kind of just cover it by not covering it. You kind of just chug along. Don't think about it. Because if you make a stuttering mistake, if you missay a word, and then you're going to try, oh, well, I got to fix it. I got to be really good. Then you're just going to make another mistake. Then you're just going to missay the next word. Then you're going to ruin your whole next sentence. Sometimes you just kind of be quiet for a second or two, regather your thoughts, and keep going. And if you keep having mistakes, sometimes you just got to take the headset off, ask the person next to you, hey, take this over for just a minute. I got to breathe, all right? And there's no shame in that at all. Whatever you have to do to have the best broadcast possible is what you should do. And maybe that is taking a quick break to just breathe.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna take some time there. And I mentioned, like you mentioned, calling big moments there. There's always going to be a big moment no matter what happens in the game. And then when you're handling mistakes there, you just gotta take some time to like regather everything and try to correct things there because that's definitely the important part when you're handling mistakes. Sometimes when you face criticism and everything, that you just gotta know that you're there to prove people wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're handling mistakes, the key thing about it is that make sure you try to fix things out there. And look, it's okay to apologize guys for like anything that is like, like a mistake that has been going on, because hey, you never know what's going to happen there. And you mentioned in that you're going to be like talking for like 2.5 hours or so, and that's definitely one of the important things there. When you're handling mistakes, you just got to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Make sure you reiterate, or make sure you like try to make a correction or a mistake that has been going on here, and that's a good thing, because you go out smoothly, and you're hoping to make sure about that for sure. Um, so let's talk about your career defining moments. I know you are in like college right now, right?
Yeah, so going into sophomore year.
And by the time we get to like the fall season, are you gonna be like where are you gonna be right now for like the fall season?
Yeah, so looking ahead at the fall season, excuse me for that. I had a little bubble in my throat. So looking ahead at the fall season, I'll be doing play-by-play for some high school football, some 8-man extreme, and then Evangel School. That's here in Alabaster, Alabama. I do the main play-by-play and their social media. And I'll also be working with UAB in their soccer department, so probably doing the PA for those games and maybe helping with some marketing. A little bit of change in leadership there, so we're still kind of figuring it out on what to do right there, but looking forward to it. And talking about career defining moments, I think I could probably think of three. So this would have been when I was 14, so kind of getting to the age where I knew
Okay.
I really liked calling sports. And I remember texting my friend Libby and asking, because she was in our media club that we had at my high school. I'm like, hey, what's the head guy's name? Can you just forward me that contact? And so she sends it. I reach out to Scott and kind of explain to him who I am, what I kind of want to do. So he brings me on, and we do volleyball together. So that's when I was 15, was that next season. And I was playing some sports at the time, so I didn't call football. So I do volleyball for about a month, and I realize I do not want to do camera for the rest of my life. Like, it's nice, I enjoy it, but I was like yearning for the headset. So I think that was a moment of where like I finally got to do a taste of it. I got to do color for a few volleyball games, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is what I want to do. I love the feeling of the mic. I love the feeling of just being able to speak and be listened to, right? So I'd say that's probably career defining moment number one. I would say number two is when the following year they made me head play by play for basketball, and that was really cool. I didn't ask for it. I hadn't even really majorly spoken with them about basketball. It was kind of an understanding I'd be around, and they just approached me and said, "Hey, would you like to kind of be the top guy?" And I was, of course, like that. That's awesome, and it's what I wanted to do. And then career moment number three would have been this spring. So it would have been early basketball season. I was at a UAB game. I go down, go talk to the media people, explain who I am, what I want to do, and they give me a job. They call me the next day about doing baseball, a PA, and then doing softball as well. So that was kind of career moment number three, where it's like I can make it in the big leagues. We're not there yet. UAB is not the MLB, but it's still Division I college sports, right? So it just kind of shows
Yeah.
that no matter where you are at life, no matter what age or your experience, you can get pretty far if you're just willing to go out and talk to people. So that was kind of the main lesson I got from there, and it's really helped me. It helped me meet Rich Hollenberg, as you well know, do the break in and breakthrough cohort, and then just a lot of great networking. My podcast has been successful because of that same formula of just go out, talk to people. Maybe it's online and just network. So I'd say those are kind of the three. The start of it, the I guess middle was the basketball, and then the end of it where I realized, hey, this is something I can do for a career.
That's an amazing career defining moment that you really put out there for sure here. And look, when it comes to career defining moments, you always gotta shine bright. And that's exactly what's the best thing about, especially being a sports broadcaster. And, you know, when I have my career defining moment, like at a local NAIA college here in Michigan, that really sets a tone for what's to come for me. And I couldn't be more happier to be a part of a local college for 3 seasons, and it could not be any better whatsoever for sure. I do want to ask you one question though. Do you have a funniest behind the scenes story that really stands out for you?
Yeah. One immediately comes to mind, and it's this one's tough. So where we have our, I don't know what you want to call it, basketball studio. So we have our court layout, and then there's kind of a, not a scaffolding, but there's like an upper, like room deck, whatever you want to call it, where we have all of our cameras, mics, headphones, all that good stuff, right? So that's where we produce it kind of from a upwards view of the game. So we're not courtside. And there's these like metal beams on the walkway that are a little bit too low, so the camera can't tell. I'm 6'2", so I got to duck under these things. I think if you're like 5'8", you don't have to duck. So, I'm pretty conscious that they're there, so I'm always very careful. And this is like 2 minutes before game time. And my partner on the broadcast, I haven't seen him in a second, and I look behind me about 20 feet. He's just sitting down with paper towels on his head. He had banged his head on the metal. He was totally fine. Like, no major injury, just a little cut. But he was so dazed. There was no concussion or anything. So I had to go the whole game with a new partner who they did a fine job for the info that they had. Didn't really know what they were doing. So that was kind of a funny experience where you're just thinking, where's my partner? And, oh, he's over there acting like he's having a heart attack. So that was a tough day.
Oh yeah, it was tough. And you're gonna have like tough days somewhere down the road there for sure. Especially no matter what sport you have, what event that you're pulling in there, you're really gonna have a tough day there for sure.
Right. There's one more, and this one is partially on me, partially not on me. So this is when I was doing football play-by-play, and our star quarterback, he and his brothers have been in this program for years. There's 5 boys. They've all been fantastic. They've all played different positions, but the one of the youngest ones, Eli Black, is our starting quarterback. He's a star. He can run, pass, he can do it all. And his younger brother, Riggs, is on the JV team. So we are beating this one team by 30, 40 points, whatever the score is, and Riggs goes in the game. And their last name is Black. So I say, oh, and another one of the black kids are in the game. And in my mind, I'm just saying, oh, it's Eli Black's brother. And everybody in like the booth with me just turns around and stares at me. And it took me a second to realize, I'm like, I didn't say anything weird, did I? I'm like, it's Eli Black's little brother. And I'm like, hey, you can't say that. Like that's not allowed. I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong. And they explained to me the situation. Hey, you can't make any type of comments like that. And then I explained, hey, that's the kid's last name. Like I didn't mean anything by that. And we were all good. But it was almost a very serious miscommunication where they just looked at me, and it was a moment of a little bit of stress in the booth, but we got it all figured out. So we can laugh about it now.
I see. Really brings it out for sure.
Exactly.
All right.
Oh boy.
So right now we're gonna be doing. So I'm gonna ask you some rapid fire questions, and you can bring in like as much as possible there for sure. So I'm gonna bring in some rapid fire questions for you to ask you. So the first one is your favorite sport to call.
Football, no doubt.
Your dream event.
It'd have to be the Iron Bowl, just because what that rivalry means to me.
Oh, God, I love the Iron Bowl. Alabama, Auburn, all that.
Mm.
I'll never forget 2013. That moment was absolutely incredible, especially with the kick yard return miss, and then going all the way for the win. That was incredible.
Yeah.
Your favorite venue?
Man, this one's. I got to go Jordan Hare Stadium, Auburn, again, just because, just the personal connection I've had at that stadium. I've been to so many games and a lot of big ones. So to be able to call a game there would be really cool. But if not there, I'd probably say like Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's another stadium that's close.
Oh yeah, I gotta love that
Atlanta,
stadium.
yeah,
Go
Atlanta's got
for
a lot
one
of
of the
connections.
venues for the World Cup then, and
Mhm.
then they're probably gonna like host a Super Bowl soon. Like
Yes, I think 2028. I think they are.
yes,
I want to say
twenty
it's in
twenty eight.
2 years.
Yeah, there's that. I think like Mercedes-Benz Stadium is like one of the best venues ever. Like
I agree.
national championship games, you got like Falcons game, Atlanta United games. You got like so many events at that stadium, and wow, I wish I can go there. I wish I can go there.
It's great. Hey, Michigan, Atlanta. It's not a fun drive, but it's not a terrible drive either. I think you can make it.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Um, favorite broadcaster?
Oh, man, it's got to be Chris Fowler, who he does the ABC nightcap with Kirk Herbstreit,
Yeah,
and my
gotta love
instincts go
him.
Rob Brambling from Auburn because of how impactful he was. But I love Chris Fowler and his sound bites. There's actually one game in particular I use so many phrases from it. It was 2019 Oregon versus Arizona State. Arizona State gets a huge upset. The quarterback of Arizona State at that time was Jaden Daniels, who we all know goes to LSU, gets a Heisman high draft pick for the Commanders, and there's just so many sound bites in that game that I use today, and I was like, man, I love Chris Fowler. He's always been great. He's
Yeah,
exciting. He doesn't do too much.
he's been living in like so
Mhm.
he lived for like so many moments and expectations.
Right,
And
right.
yeah. All right, we got a few more. Coffee or energy drink?
Uh, I can't do coffee. I got to go energy drink. I don't really drink either, but when I do drink something like that, it's probably a white monster.
I don't blame you. All right, home or road games?
Oh man,
I know it's tough.
home games to call, but when I was a player, road games because it was so nice beating the other team.
Okay, and finally, your biggest pet peeve.
Um, pet peeve. I don't like when um people this is maybe somewhat controversial when they'll go say, oh, I have gay friends or I have whatever friends. I'm like, just say they're your friends. Like, gee, like I can't stand when people say that. Because like people are people. Like let's just like that's a pretty simple thing.
Right.
And when they'll just go like, oh, I have such and such friend, like, and they're trying to get attention, like they're such a great person. I'm like, you're just their friend. Like, do you want a gold star for that? So it's just, oh, that one irks me when you try to get like that little Mother Teresa award for being friends with somebody. Like, come on.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. That's gotta be tough for sure. All right. Now, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you three more questions. It's here. So the first one is give me one piece of advice for aspiring broadcasters, whatever if they're going to college or trying to find their way. What's the one best piece of advice for aspiring broadcasters?
I would just say you got to keep your head down and work and understand that yes, some opportunities are going to find you. The best ability is availability, which is true, but you're gonna have to work at it. And I think understanding that it's not just about learning how to call games on headset. You got to learn camera. You got to learn podcasting. You got to learn script writing, like you mentioned. And that is very, very possible. Like there's so many tools out there, and I think it's the biggest thing is don't get discouraged. Yes, there's a lot that you need to do and a lot that you need to learn, but it's so accessible. There's so many people to talk to, and never feel afraid to ask out or to reach out and ask for help.
Next up is best career lesson that you have.
Best career lesson that I have learned is understanding that there are people who are a lot better at what they're doing than you, and just humility. Understanding I'm where I'm at today. Maybe it's because of things that I've done. Maybe I've just been very blessed to be where I'm at. So having very humble approach and saying I'm grateful for where I'm at, and not looking at other people like, oh, I'm better than you, I should be in that spot, or just accept that they're where they're at and you're where you're at, and stay humble.
Yeah, say no more. Say no more. And next and finally, what's next for you? Like, tell everybody what's next for you.
Yeah, so after college, so I'm going to be working with UAB for the next 2-3 seasons. It's looking to be like ESPN. I've already got a few connections and a few things set up. ESPN Plus, so they cover all of the American Conference. They do all the baseball, basketball, the games that aren't nationally streamed. So looks like I'm going to hopefully be able to slide in there, either doing color, maybe doing some analyst work. Probably not play-by-play straight away at Division One, but I have had a few people reach out to me from some smaller universities, like a D2 school, and they have some of the ESPN Plus out there, maybe some FCS work. So just wherever I can get on camera and get on a mic. But my podcast is going to be hopefully growing. Again, it's Holmes Field Advantage. That's available on Spotify, YouTube, and all streaming platforms, also Instagram and TikTok from the same name. So look out for that. That's always going to be next for me as well.
Absolutely there. And hopefully my podcast will definitely work out as well. I got a podcast coming up on YouTube and on Spotify. And that will definitely work there for sure.
Oh, and just that's another thing about podcasting. That's such a good thing to do as a broadcaster, and just keep your head down there. You're not going to get 1,000 watchers when you start, right? You got to work. Like I got 35 to 40 right now, but I started with 7. So it's just
you just gotta keep going.
Right, exactly. Hey, well, man, thank
Wesley,
you so much for having me on.
Yeah. Tell everybody, where can we follow you on social media?
Yeah, so again, all my handles are going to be Holmes Field Advantage Podcast. My personal accounts would just be Wesley Holmes. Again, I don't typically do any type of my sports stuff on there. That's a kind of personal for friends and family. You're welcome to go follow it. But again, Holmes Field Advantage, that's on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. I also do some skits. I know you know who Chris Collinsworth is, so I have a lot of skits where I impersonate him and do some funny videos as well. So you also go check that out. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah. Hopefully I will get a chance to tune into the podcast for sure. Well, Wesley, thank you so much for being here. Here you are, our very first guest on Voker On Air, Voices of the Game. And I hope you will continue doing your work. And hopefully for like the next few seasons, you'll probably make it up to a much more opportunity for sure. So thank you for your time. And I hope you keep on going.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. And that is my interview with Wesley Holmes, and I hope he has a very good career. And he's got a podcast as well, so hopefully I will check that out very soon. So Wesley Holmes, he's a great kind of guy, like getting foot in the door, doing a whole lot, and hopefully trying to put in the work as much as he wants to. It's just like me, been doing sports broadcasting for 5 years, just recently turned 30. But the good thing is that when you're trying to do, trying to work yourself, trying to involve in sports broadcasting, you don't have to do just play-by-play. You just have to do other things there. You have to do, PA announcing, which he's done that, doing color analyst work. I did that. Things didn't work out for me, to be quite honest. But the good thing is that we love to put in all the work. And I really hope that Wesley Holmes will do a whole lot better than that for sure. So thanks to Wesley Holmes for the interview, and I hope he has a great future ahead of him for sure. All right, guys, let's get on to my next segment, which is 2 broadcasters that I appreciated. Get there. Now, usually I might go 1. I'll probably go 2, probably many more. But let's get on with the first broadcaster that I would like to appreciate, and that is none other than Joe Buck. So Joe Buck has recently become the winner of the 2026 Ford C. Frick Award, and he called a record 24 World Series games
First one was with 1996, and the last one was with 2021. All of them were on Fox. He is now the host of ESPN Jeopardy, which you can see him on Disney Plus and on Hulu. And he's going to be calling his first Super Bowl in 7 years. His last one, I believe, was with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. But Joe Buck has been calling 24 World Series. His first one is 1996, and I mentioned 2021 was his last. And throughout that time, he has known there was, like a dynasty with the New York Yankees. He's called in an unimaginable run with the Florida Marlins. He has called World Series, these games that won by the San Francisco Giants, the Kansas City Royals, and he also called the long-awaited drought of 108 years with the Chicago Cubs when they finally won it all in 2016. And last but not least, 2021 was the year that the Atlanta Braves have their second World Series title. First one was back in 1995, and the last one was in 2021 when they dominated the Houston Astros. It was in Game 6 of the World Series. Man, oh man, that was definitely a huge, huge moment to finally put an end into a long way return. I know he's been calling baseball there for sure. He called opening day for ESPN, and definitely he's going to be calling Super Bowl 61, which will be at SoFi Stadium on Valentine's Day of 2027, which is also my younger brother's birthday. And that is going to be something that we cannot love for sure. So, congratulations to Joe Buck, and hopefully, more baseball will be coming away very soon. All right, and the second broadcaster that I also wanted to appreciate is none other than Jamie Hirsch. Now, Jamie Hirsch recently called Sunday's NWSL game between the Seattle Reign and the San Diego Wave, and it's on network television. It's on CBS Sports Network. I got a chance to see that happening, and Jamie Hirsch, this is her second season calling the NWSL. Oh, she's been calling it for NWSL Plus. And I finally got a chance to see her. The first time I got a chance to see her was last season between Racing Louisville and the Houston Dash. I would say she was really, really impressive of calling soccer. And the way that she has grown in the play-by-play role, especially calling the PWHL, which she will be the voice of the PWHL Las Vegas team coming up in like the next few months from now. Right now, she's not only the play-by-play, but she also done studio hosting, doing like ringside reporting, especially with the Vegas Golden Knights, but she's also growing into that new role in play-by-play. And I remember this one clip that she posted out is that do the things that scares you and then just go on with it. And I think I posted a blog post as well. But I mentioned do the things that scare you and then keep doing at it. And I remember posting this blog a year ago, and for a long time, this really means by taking the big leap, make a bold move, say yes to everything that's intimidating, step out of your comfort zone. And that's what I learned as a sports broadcaster is that doing the scary thing once isn't enough. You gotta keep doing it over and over again. And I was so proud to see what Jamie Hirsch could really do. Get a chance to listen to her with the PWHL. She's been calling like teams like the New York Sirens and Minnesota Frost. Now she, like I said, gonna be calling the PWHL Las Vegas team as well. And when it comes to play-by-play, it is a role that really
out of the comfort zone. And, I think she posted a clip that, she's reflecting on her experiences, calling play-by-play for the PWHL. And the thing is that she talks about the nerves, the pressure, ultimately being the reward of doing the things that really scared her. And that is a perfect example of exactly what this is all about. Embracing the fear, stepping up to the mic anyway, and growing in the process. So I am really glad and appreciate what Jamie Hirsch has done, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see her in the PWHL very soon. But she's definitely killing it right now in the play-by-play role, with PWHL now, with the NWSL. And yeah, I mean, I could not be more very happy to see her. And we've seen more women get to play-by-play, with the likes of Courtney Lyle, Beth Mowens, she's been doing it for years. Who else? Kate Scott, she's calling WNBA, but she's also calling for the Philadelphia 76ers. I mentioned Elise Woodward as well. So nicely done. I appreciate you, Jamie. Hopefully we'll bring her in a podcast someday. Who to Joe Buck and Jamie Hirsch, two broadcasters that I appreciate, and it really turns out well. All right, guys. Thanks. We're about to wrap up this show. And before we do that, it is time for my segment, is Sportscaster Tip of the Week, courtesy of our friends at Sportscaster Live. And the tip is stay organized and prepare for broadcast. A solid system of tracking schedules, research, and notes, and ensuring smooth performances. And that is a well-oiled preparation system that is a ultimate cheat code for live broadcasting. When things move fast on the air, having your research schedules and spot on notes organized so that you can digest them at a glance, that makes all the difference between reacting and anticipating. And there are three things that comes to mind. First off, you have the pre-event prep routine, the master schedule inflow. Make sure you keep a designated digital calendar or a binder with the match event times, calling the time, the pre-show syncs, and the post-game deadlines. One-page rule. Always distill massive amounts of research into one single high-priority cheat sheet for the booth. If you have a flip through 5 pages during a sequence, it's way too slow. And also, you got to have color coding by, using your visual language across your prep boards or prep sheets. And visual recognition is definitely faster than reading the text. The second one is to have dynamic note-taking system. You got to have digital archives. Use the tools like OneNote or Google Drive to categorize the team, the league, or the topic. Keep a living document that would give you the update on every broadcast so that you will never start from scratch next time. And you got to have frantic spotting boards. So if you're calling a fast-paced action, ensure that your spotting boards are modular, easy to update right up to the opening whistle or the bell. And you gotta have a pre-show readiness check. Make sure you double check the late scratches or late minute roster adjustments. Make sure you verify talkback buttons, headset levels, and communication levels with your producer and analyst. And always have 2-3 overarching narratives ready to weave onto natural lures into the action. So your prep isn't meant to read verbatim on the air, but it's safely to have a safety net armor that will give you the confidence to trust your instincts and stay present while you are at the moment there. So that is the sports broadcaster tip of the day. Make sure you go online to sportscasterlive.com and hopefully you'll have everything to talk about with prep. Make sure you have all the spotting boards that you definitely need, and things will definitely go out for well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for me on this weekly episode of Voker On Air versus the game. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully, we had a great time. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you are on Spotify, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And if you're on Voker On Air Network, make sure you subscribe to this channel. More content will be coming your way very soon, and I hope I'll see you guys then. I'm Yohn Voker, and remember, folks, make sure you stay behind the mic, beyond the game, with Voker On Air, hosting of the game. Take care, everybody, and I hope I will see you guys here next week.